all as we come together today to celebrate and remember that suddenly as a those of you who don't know me, my name is Dawn Allen. I'm an independent civil servant, and it is a great privilege and an honour to lead this service to celebrate and to commemorate Nick's life, and to be able to offer comfort to you, his family and his friends. We gather to honour his memory and to support one another in grieving a death which is perhaps one of the hardest to grieve, the unexpected and sudden death of a younger person. To you, Nick's family, on behalf of all present, may I express our sincere condolences in the loss of one who has been such a loved and cherished part of your lives. We know that for you life is going to seem very strange and very different without him. I'm sure that your memories of Nick are far more real to you than my words can be. I didn't meet him. I can't possibly know him as you all did. But I can hopefully help to create a space where your collective memories and shared stories will help to bring a little bit of light to the shadows of the grief that you feel now. I'd like to begin with a reading, and it's perhaps some words that Nick might say to us today. If tomorrow starts without me, and I'm not there to see, if the sun should rise and find your eyes all filled with tears for me, I wish so much you wouldn't cry the way you did today, while thinking of the many things we didn't get to say. I know how much you love me, as much as I love you, and each time that you think of me, I know that you'll miss me too. But when tomorrow starts without me, please try to understand that an angel came and called my name and took me by the hand, and said my place was ready in the heavens far above, and that I'd have to leave behind all those I dearly love. Then, as I turned to walk away, a tear fell from my eye. For all my life, I'd always thought I didn't want to die. I had so much to live for, so much left yet to do, it seemed almost impossible. Yesterday, of course, the pain of loss is always with us. We share that load together. Death is never easy on our conscience. It's my experience we're never really ready to lose those people that we love. Let's face it, there is never a right time. But when we come together like this, our collective grief becomes then a collective strength. Let's try today to remember Nick's life with gratitude, with joy, with happiness, and with love. The family have asked me to pass on their heartfelt thanks to all of you who have lent your support and love to them during this time, and indeed for coming here this morning, especially to those of you who have travelled, and for the expressions of care that you've given them during this difficult time. Your kindness is very much appreciated by them all. We also acknowledge that due to the restrictions placed upon us in life, there are some friends who couldn't be here today to remember Nick's life. However, we are live streaming the service, and I offer a special welcome to anyone who is joining us over the internet worldwide. It's wonderful that you can be part of the service in this way. We know you will be here if you possibly could, and that your thoughts are with the family. At the conclusion of the service this morning, the family invites you to join them for refreshments and to share more stories of your time with Nick. There is a memorial book which they would like you to sign for them, and I believe it's somewhere over there in the back area. And just a little reminder, if you do have a cell phone on you, would you please just make sure it's turned off or in silent mode during the service. Thank you very much. Now we know there are many stories to be shared of your time with Nick. So let's now relive some of those memories that you have, and I'd like to invite firstly Nick's brother James forward, please. And his mum.
Yeah, Mum's going to say this one and I'll take it.
Oh, you need glasses?
He's wearing them more often than she does.
Okay, so I'm going to start this off.
Right up to your mouth.
Okay, I'm going to start this off.
Speak louder and try.
Use your man voice.
Yeah. Outside voice. No.
Thank you for all coming to celebrate Nick's life.
Her voice is loud enough, I think that microphone.
Can you guys all hear me down the back?
Yep. There we go, we're good.
Okay. So, as a family, this is one of the hardest days of our lives. And we thank you all for joining us to remember our boy. So, where it all started, when Nick was about 3 months old, I drove a courier van for my friend Regan, and I did this for about 3 months. And Nick was my offsider on most of the days. And the stereo was always cranking. So for 3 months as a baby, he basically spent most of his days on the road. We had it worked out perfectly. If we put the blanket in his bottle, he was sweet. When Nick was 18 months old, he was our ring bearer at our wedding. And when Clint and I got married, even at a young age, he was making girls cry. No, Ashley's not here. I'm not sure whether they're in Cromwell or they're in Timaru, but he wouldn't hold Ashley's hand to walk down the aisle, so she cried.
And then he tried to run off with the rings.
Yeah. When Nick was little, there was an ad on TV for Toyota. Their favourite word in the ad was bugger. So, for whatever reason, and nobody knows why, he started calling Kerry bugger. And it stuck for so long. And it wasn't calling her a bugger, it was calling her bugger. That was her name. A lot of you don't know what Nick was like growing up as a kid. So just imagine the shit that he was now. He was it's probably worse as a kid. So the school bus picked the kids up at the gate, dropped them back at the gate. Nick got stood down off the school bus several times. He even managed to lock the student teacher and his classmates in the classroom because they pissed him off. So when they used to get off the school bus and I wasn't home, the phone would ring about, I believe, between 3:30 and 4:30, and it'd either be Nick or Katie, and it'd be, "We're home, what's to eat?"
Always.
Nick played rugby for Springston for 3 seasons. He also played cricket as well for Springston. He played league for the Panthers for 2 seasons.
I got that right, you could see got some taste and play.
He was, the 13s and 14s he played for the Panthers. Nick went to Lincoln for 2 years, Lincoln High for 2 years. Then he went on to NZIS, followed in his cousin's footsteps. He absolutely loved it at NZIS. It was all about sports and exercise. tried about the fact that he was probably the shortest one there and with the least weight, and he had the hack squat. I had the hack squat record at NZIS. Love getting records. While he was at NZIS, he started working for Les and Susan at Caltex Hornby. Firstly as part-time after course, slowly got more into course time, and then he took over from Mark and ran the afternoon evening shift. Shane, who was his manager, used to threaten to tie to sew Nick's pockets because Nick always used to have his hands in his pockets, standing behind the till. And here's one from Rave. I don't know where you're standing.
Where are you hiding, Reeve? I see you over there.
So, 4 days after Nick turned 16, so this is about Nick and driving. 4 days after Nick turned 16, he had his learners. From that time, I never got to drive my cars. He was always driving. 2 weeks after he turned 16 and a half, he had his restricted. 2 weeks after he turned 17 and a half, he had his full. Oh. And then he lost his licence.
Queen's Park Reserve, eh, Reeve?
So, he was running the evening shift and he used to finish at 11 o'clock at night, and so I'd have to go and pick him up. And he'd text me and he'd say, Mum, can you pick me up about midnight? I'm going to see Reeve after work. Only problem was, I don't think it was Reeve, I think it was a booty call. It just happened that Reeve was working in Hornby as well at that time. So, Nick lost his way when my dad passed away. And at that stage we just got Nick into racing courtesy of Auntie Cher's dog. So he started off in hobbies, but got bored with it really quickly. Scared the crap out of Clint on his 17th birthday. Just about did a 4-wheel salute in the hobby at Oxford. Because he come around turned 4. When we first brought, so he moved into mini stocks. When we first brought Sarah Ballas's old mini stock, that's when things got serious. So him and James pulled it apart in the off season, and Andrew Good built an amazing motor. I'm going to add this one. That was legal. So Nick raced it with the Glen, hence why we're here. Oxford, Ellesmere, Ashburton, Eastern States, Dunedin and Cromwell. We did try to, and Grey Mountain, sorry. We did try to find out whether he still holds it or not, but Nick held the...
At one point he held the lap record for adult mini stocks at Cromwell. And he was proud of that. It was big lap. Yeah. Sorry, I'm nervous. Yeah, so he held the, or I don't know whether he still does, lap record at Cromwell for the adult mini stocks.
20
managed
flat?
to run a 20 flat around there. The day he found that out, couldn't have been happier. You'd think he'd won an actual decent championship.
Okay. Whilst racing, he made some great friends, especially Archie. So Paul helped Nick get in as a driver at Fastway Couriers when he came off his 6 months disqualification. So Nick did 2 years as a courier. From there, with a little gap in between, he went to rural. Is Gordy here?
Yeah, good, he said. Over there.
Where's Tom? Thank you for all that you did for my boy. So he started at rural, and if you guys have been out there, you would see.
They started in 473.
He started at 473, in 473, and he moved into 402. No, you want to wait for a little bit?
Yeah, you put him in 108 for a stint.
And
Heard all about that one.
he used to swear about that gearbox.
Everybody does when they hear wrong.
He went through his licenses pretty quick and got up to his 5 pretty quickly. He was just,
I think every truck he touched apart from 108 ended up shiny, didn't it?
yeah. So he worked, he brought 192 home one day. The curtain needed repairing because he ripped it. And so it's backed up the driveway and
That's right, it was Mark was driving it
he
at the time.
polished the wheels on it. It wasn't his truck, but because he had it home, he polished the wheels on it.
He also done it with the motive. He knew the driver, and he knew that the driver generally didn't polish the truck. But he could put
In June, before June last year, Nick decided it's time for he made to Mustang. They became a second family. Nick got late last year, his mum, Kathy. She stepped up and became another mum figure for Nick and looked after him because I couldn't be there. Driving was Nick's passion, whether it was a car, a race car or a truck. Oh, and I have to say this, Nick drove the race car really, really well. It's just eventual.
how many people have actually been for a car ride with Nick? Because we had this race, and I find this absolutely hilarious. You put him in a truck, he's a relatively good driver. You put him in a race car, relatively good driver. You put him in a car though, absolutely shit.
He would tailgate and he would,
The worst was he'd be on his phone all the time, constantly on his phone. And the moment you took over, like you'd rip him out about it, and he'd ask for proof and everything. As soon as you took over driving and you got on your phone just once, it was game over. He was at your throat about it. And when you raise about him being on his phone, it'd be, where's your proof? Every time.
So, if he could drive it, he would. Nick spent his days doing what he loved. That includes yours. He spent his days doing what he loved, chasing the white line. Our hearts are aching and we're missing our boy so much. What? Okay. Our hearts are aching and we're missing our boy so much. We want to everyone to remember Nick just like we do, keep talking about him, sharing his stories, sharing laughs. So I want to thank the STL boys that have travelled and brought trucks down.
Man effort by Ro. Ro, you're the man, was what you told me. The trip you've made, awesome.
And when you guys leave, if you have a look out there, there's a truck out there. It's the mum truck, and it was the truck that Nick was just about to go into. So, thank you everybody.
I didn't write anything up because I like to wing shit. Nick, being his brother, I mean, most of you guys, I've heard all the stories from guys out of the North Island, the friends he made in the South Island, and they're all telling me he's an awesome person, heart of gold and everything, and I'm like, damn, did you ever have to live with them? Man, we never got along. Well, I mean, we did, but whenever we were living in the same house, there was never peace in the house. We always came at heads.
Shared best friends.
Yeah, shared best friends. Sam, you got passed around a bit. But yeah, just some of the stories I've heard from guys, it's the way I've always described Nick is he may not have always had the best, like he always had the best intentions, however his execution, he really needed to work on most of the time because yeah, it just never never went straight ahead. But in saying that, he was always the man. He was always the guy. And I hope he took it on board from me because I was always the one picking him up from town at God knows what hour of the morning. Yeah, it used to be Mum knew that I'd be out and about, and she'd be waiting for a phone call from Nick, and I'd tell her she could go to sleep because I'd be out and about, so I'd get a phone call. Depending on how big a night he had, it'd be anywhere between 3:30 and 4:30 in the morning. You get a phone call from Nick. I think the most memorable one was when I picked him, Josh, and who else was with us? Was it Katie was with us? Yeah. The night of Nick's 21st, picked them up from town at 4 o'clock in the morning. And we could not get Nick to calm down in the car. Turns out he'd done some things that he shouldn't have. His jaw was swinging away and he was smashing his head on the back window. I think we ended up having to play certain music just to get him to calm down. And that was courtesy of Josh. Okay. No idea. I can't remember.
Is that one where it finds time?
Oh, no, that was a different one.
I'll get there.
Yeah. But yeah, like hearing all the stories from people, it's just amazing. I know he might not have even liked the person, but if they called him at 3 o'clock in the morning and needed help, needed being picked up, he'd be there. He was the one you could always count on if needed. I know it's hard, I still do not and struggle to come to grips with the fact that my little brother's gone. He was meant to be the one to teach Lucas, who you all saw standing up here with me before. That's Nick's, he's Nick's nephew, but Lucas had a way with Nick. They'd always rip each other out, and they were constantly at each other's throat. One of Nick's favourite games was to wind up Lucas, and then he'd run away while I had to deal with the repercussions. But yeah, Lucas could do anything. Lucas just had Nick wrapped around his little finger. I don't know what it was about the kid. Many females who spoke to Nick, I know that quite often you'd receive conversations where he'd claim that Lucas was his kid. And that was another favourite pastime of his. It'd be that I'd have Lucas at home with me, and it'd be, oh, James going to steal Lucas away, and I'd be like, why? What are you going to do? He's like, oh, I'm off to the mall. And it was all because he wanted to try and use Lucas to pick girls up. So yeah, but he was meant to be here to teach Lucas all the bad things, and he's a major loss to not only us but all his friends and everything, the trucking community. The stories coming out from the trucking community, I've heard of drivers say that they didn't even talk, they'd never actually met him, but they talked to him on the CV and stuff. And I know I've seen Snapchats of him sitting there ordering Indian on the CV when he knew Indian drivers were around. He was trouble like that, but yeah, it's going to be a hard one. But I appreciate every single person that's come out today to help us celebrate Nick. And yeah, please don't let him be forgotten, because he was as much of a shithead as he was to me. He was a hell of a guy. Yeah, so thank you.
So Nick's little sister Caitlin would like to say words too.
Okay, so I didn't print it out. I forgot. I was at work this morning, so. So hi for all that don't know me. I'm Caitlin, but most people call me Katie. I'm Nick's little sister. I got the privilege of knowing him for 21 years. We've had a lot of ups and downs over the 21 years. We fought like cats and dogs. Like really badly. But I always knew that if I ever needed him, he would be there for me. We made lots of memories, and we made lots of bets too. Some interesting than others. Like going to town at one point and saying who could pull the lobster. That didn't happen though. I think I won that bet.
I'll say something the girl says, Paul, I'll be, you have that legit.
One of my favourite bits that me and Nick had made was when we were younger, we used to ride our bikes up and down our driveway. So a little about our old house was it was in the middle of the Wop Wops. All that we had was a river.
Who do you fucking have to do with what?
And we had paddocks all around our house, so barbed wire fences at the top. So we got bored one day, and we decided that we could ride up our driveway with his eyes shut all the way. And he got to the bend in the driveway, and he rode into the barbed wire fence. So I won that bet, but he also lost the fight to the barbed wire fence. So before Mum became a driving instructor, she worked at Post. She did night shift. So me and Nick used to get up to a lot of mischief when Mum would be asleep, Dad would be at work, James would be at work. Well, God knows where. And we would go grab our water guns that we had got given, and we'd jump the fences behind our garage, and we would go into the paddocks where all the cows were. And we'd chase them around, spraying them with the water guns. I got scared one day because the cow was chasing me, so Nick started to try to protect me from the cow. And Mum would wake up and would be nowhere to be found. And would hear her calling us, our names out. And so we'd try and sneak back into the yard, but we'd always get caught. We did this multiple times. We never learned. So Nick is 2.5 years older than me, and in primary school, Mum would sometimes pick us up from school, and she would have parents come up to her and ask if me and Nick were twins. He absolutely hated that. Or he also hated how I was always taller than him. He was a shrub. But my most favourite of all memories that I had is my last one with him, where I got to spend my 21st birthday with him up in Rotorua. So we went to Auckland for my birthday, and we went to Rotorua for the day on the Sunday, just before my birthday. Told me that he doesn't add people on Facebook, woke up on my birthday, so a friend request from that. But we went and did brunch, and then me and my friend and my mum went and did the treetop walk. And then we went and did the luge with Nick, and we got tea. We had a great time with lots of laughs, and me and Nick were trying to spin it and hit each other. It was a great time away, and I'll never forget the memories I got to make with him. All the good and all the bad. I hope I make you proud with everything I do. I know you're always going to be there with me. I love you so much, and I know we never really said it to each other, but I love you and I'll miss you like crazy forever. Until we meet again, my big brother, you'll always be in my heart.
Vince's cousin DJ, would you like to come up now, please?
First of all, I'd like to thank all the truckers this morning. We executed that convoy freaking awesome, so thank you to everyone that was a part of that. What I'm about to read is a poem that I heard at a funeral. I think you directed it too. It's called The Dash by Linda Ellis. I read of a man who stood to speak at a funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on the tombstone from beginning to the end. He noted first came the date of birth and spoke the following dates with tears. But he said what mattered most of all was the dash between those years. For that dash represented all the time that they spent alive on earth. Now only those who loved them know what that little line is worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and love and how we spend our dash. So think about this long and hard. Are there any things you'd like to change? For you never know how much time is left that can be still rearranged. If we could just slow down enough to consider what's true and real, and always try to understand the way other people feel. and be less quick to anger and show appreciation more, and love the people in our lives like we've never been loved before. If we treat each other with respect and more often wear a smile, remember the special dash won't only be for a little while. So when your eulogy is being read with your life actions rehashed, would you be proud of the things I say on our eulogy dash?
Words to ponder. That's Grandma. Miriam Brown, would you like to come up now? Hi everybody, I'm sorry that I can't stand up on there. I have a fused ankle, so I'm going to stand here and talk to you. I just want to touch on a few things about Nick, some that you won't know about. When he was little, we were doing a trip to Whangarei and took him. I was a lot slimmer then, and in the motel there was no bath, and I needed to get Nick a bath. So anyhow, I stripped him off, hopped in the shower, and he screamed the place down. And then there was a time that he rang me and told me that, well, Lynette had already rang me, but he was involved in an accident with Clint. And he thought that Clint had died in that accident. And he was so upset about it. And he told me that the people that had hit them were very rude to him when he went round to see see whether they were all right. And I said to him, what did they say to you? Wouldn't tell me. He said, it's not for your ears, you know. I'm going to miss the texts that I got from him, which always ended, I love you, Nana. And the last thing I want to say is he was very fond of dogs. He's got his own dog, or he had his own dog in the end. Yeah. We've got, we have a little Jack Russell, and he belonged to my husband. And Nick used to, because Jack Russells have got short legs, they'll sit up on their haunches. And Salty used to sit in the corner of the couch, and Nick could sit in the middle of the couch, and they'd play fight, a pair of them. And when unfortunately I had to have Salty put down, because he wasn't, he started biting, and we didn't want that to come with the grandchildren coming around. So Nick came with me to the vet, and he sat with Salty while the vet sedated him and made him quiet and that. And afterwards, Nick left and went out to the car, and he was crying. And the vet said to me, he said, Miriam, he said, I want you to tell that young man that I am so proud of him, because he said teenagers these days do not show their emotions. He said, I am really proud of him. So the last thing I want to say to you today is a little thing I found on the internet, and it's an Eskimo proverb, and it says, perhaps they are not stars in the sky, rather openings where our loved ones shine, down to let us know that they are happy. And I thought that was very lovely. When I met the family the other day, I did get to meet Luna. That's from Moscow little dog. She's lovely. And they told me that Nick also had a mentor, and that mentor was also named Nick. So Nick, would you like to come up and say a few words, please?
Yeah. see the white shirt coming. Kia ora koutou, te rangi e tū nei, te pama e tāpoko nei, tia e mauriora. E ngā hoa, e ngā whānau, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. For those, yeah, well, yeah, pretty much just said it. I'm Nick. At the time, well, I thought I was just another driver in the fleet. Turns out that, yeah, well, I'm one of the senior Lionel drivers, and I was actually one of the drivers that he looked up to. God knows what he looked up to me for, because like, oh yeah, oh here comes Nick, comes in, Depot, oh my God, his wheels are shiny again. Oh, how can I get my wheels as shiny as him? And, oh yeah, okay, I'll show you what to do. And, but I just had so much unfinished business to teach him. Whether it was teaching him how to cover his load, how to load and unload his own trailer by himself, even right down to geographical things like, oh yeah, if you need to get to website and Auckland, oh yeah, take this road down there. Oh, if you don't remember that road, oh, look out for this landmark. Don't remember if you get it wrong. Awesome little bloke. I've never come across anyone like that was able to actually just step into our work, realising that yeah, he's come from nicer equipment to equipment, no, it's maybe not up to everyone's standards, but he was happy to get in there and do the job. And yeah, and it just took a while, but got on there. Now and then you come back and I'd have some funny joke or share something to me on Facebook. It was like, oh my God, man, what did you share that to me for? What does that even have to do with me? Yeah, but, and yeah, and I got a total shock when he first started with us, and someone said, it's like, oh yeah, he used to work at Celtic Zombie. That's where I bloody remembered it from. Yeah, remember this little short fella standing on the counter, yeah, telling some dumb joke, hat up like this and so yeah, as short as a bloody pumpkin tree, but yeah, never mind. But always greeted everyone with a smile. There was never a dull moment with him. Yeah, and the day when I heard about the accident where it happened, he was on one side of the mountains in the central North Island, and I was on the eastern side of the mountains. And when I heard about the accident, well, I actually thought it was Turbo had been in the accident, and it took me ages, and I thought, nah, surely not. It can't be him. Nah, surely not. Got to Auckland, and no word of a lie, it's probably the most I've ever cried in my whole life. I'm trying to talk to someone and say how I love them and all that sort of stuff, and even right to that point, every time when I wanted to say I want to bring this body home, there was it, more water was coming off the face than what I throw out the truck when I'm washing it. Yeah, and it was just, I keep choking up every time. Even right to the point when Turbo was explaining to me how he tried to save him, and I thought to myself, mate, if I was in your shoes, I probably would have been so fortunate. I probably wouldn't have been able to bear watching old mate burning like that. I probably would have tried to succumb to the fire like that too. I even said that to my old lady, tears streaming down my face. And I didn't give a fuck at that time because that's my workmate, that's gone to the head. So, yeah, wherever you are, little mate, keep the wheels shiny up there. You might be gone from us in person, but you're still going to be here in my heart and in my soul. Thank you.
Thanks, Nick. And it's best friend, a brother from another mother I'm told, Josh.
Don't worry about it.
I'll start with these ones because it's pretty bright in here. So first of all, I'll just pass on a message from Sparky and Sarah up north who are a second family. They unfortunately weren't able to make it today. So this is from them. Nick first made his way north to Rotorua for the World 240 Superstock meeting in January 2020. Both myself and Sarah had never met the young buck, but before I sent Sarah on her way to Auckland to collect them. Sarah waited at the airport where she was greeted by a shorter than expected bloke with a huge smile and arms open for a hug. For Sarah, someone that doesn't like trucks, it was a long drive home. Her first interaction she had with Nick Here, look at my truck, it's fat, eh? For the remainder of the trip home to Rotorua, every truck that went past, she knew everything about it. As Sarah and Nick arrived back in Rotorua, they came up to the speedway track when I was helping organise the corporate tent. Nick got out of the car, walked towards me, gave me a huge hug and said, "Hey mate, how's it going?" I explained what we were up to, and straight away he got to help him with no hesitation. We shared a common passion of speedway, so both Friday and Saturday night we were up at the track for speedway, and during the day we took time to show Nick around Rotorua. Sunday came and it was time for Nick to head back to Auckland on a bus. He hopped and off he went. Not long after he went south, he had been in contact with us most days. It was then when he told me the North Island was where he wanted to be driving trucks. With me at Rotorua Forest Haulage, I managed to pull a few strings and get the young bucket job driving logging trucks here up north. Nick made his decision at the start of May to come up for an interview and have a look around the place, and decided he was dead set he wanted to move to Rotorua and live with us. Middle of May arrived, and so did a Ford Courier Duke with Nick's minimal belongings. We set him up with his own room to find he bought no pillows, blankets, duvet, or bedding in general. Lucky for him, we'd surplus of that. Nick started working at Rotorua Forest Haulage driving log trucks, and it wasn't long before he decided that log trucks weren't his thing. He then set off to go work for Jack's Haulage. It was at Jack's Haulage that he drove drop-side trucks. He enjoyed this job, but he didn't enjoy the management. So back to the drawing board. With Mama Sarah to comfort Nick, I pulled those strings again at Rotorua Forest Haulage and got him a job there driving a little yellow truck. A few months passed and Nick was still not satisfied with driving the little yellow truck. So he set off looking for another job. As a child, Nick loved STL, but Nick would take him down to the yard and watch trucks come in and out. He had big dreams that one day he would be the company that he would work for. And with that, he attended a job interview in Tauranga, working for STL in September 2020. Nick arrived home with a smile from ear to ear. He had been given his chance at his dream job. We knew how much this meant to our mate, and we were stoked for him. Nick was definitely one of a kind. One of the first nights living with us, he offered to cook dinner. Me, Sarah and Lucy were thankful for the offer as Nick plodded in the kitchen. The three of us kept watching the rugby. Sarah jumped up to grab a drink and she noticed Nick was boiling chicken in a pot. Something that she and us had never seen before. As she went back to the couch, she saw myself and Lucy. We all frantically Googled to see if you could cook a chicken that way. We're going to get food poisoning. Turns out you can cook a chicken that way. Nick made a nice meal. Nick had a massive love for TikTok. It didn't matter what you were doing or where you were, Nick was always watching TikToks. During the move to the new house, we were pulling up bunk beds, putting up the pool and doing yard work, with Nick always close by with his phone on loud watching TikToks. We would often head down to the rugby fields and watch rugby games. It was here one day that Nick met our friend Joel. We finished watching the game and were invited back to one of their places for a few drinks. Off we went. It was not long after getting there, Nick had cornered Joel and was showing him and telling him everything about his trucks. Bless his soul, he was so passionate. Nick developed a love for long white drinks. Every flavour, but he was convinced that apple and pear was his favourite. He would head out and say, "I'll go grab beers while I'm out." I'd be thinking, "Oh yeah, box Corona, that wouldn't go amiss." Nick arrives home with long whites. I'm confused because I thought he said beer, but I soon learned that long whites were Nick's beer. Well, I could spend a long time here with all the stories about Nick. The main purpose was to let everyone know he loved living with us, loved trucking up and down the North Island, and he had the biggest heart with a massive smile, but lacked somewhat in height. Nick had developed friendships with many people up here, touched so many girls, wives. Friends here at the place for the live stream, Nick holds a place in everyone's heart. From Lucy, Justin, Callum, Jake, Zayden, Yasmin, Pete, Kathy, Jess, Josh, Melissa, Geordie, Taylor, and her little mate, Lola. Sorry if I missed any names, it's a lot. We miss you so much, buddy. Love you always, and here's a quote we'll leave you with, the broken chain. We didn't know that morning that God would call your name. In life we loved you dearly, and death we do the same. A family chain is broken and nothing seems the same. But as God calls us one by one, the chain will link again. So that's one last Sparky and Sarah. And go. I just wrote something small. I probably won't even read it, to be honest.
Good stories.
Pencil myself. So you,
His mum says so.
yeah. I mean, I've been through some hard things, but this is, saying goodbye to a mate that was taken far too soon. Now the level. I mean, I've got hundreds of stories I could share right now about Nick, because I can see my family's here, Nick's family's here, there's children around. Yeah, I'll probably cut out about, there's 90% of the stories just gone, so give a few years of me later. But the story I will tell you is actually from the first night that I met Nick. I was out drinking with some friends of the female variety. We were stranded with no way into town, and one of my mates mentioned, hey, this dude I'm talking to, he'll come pick us up and sober drive. And I was like, sweet as, and then I remember the next instructions pretty clearly. She said, Josh, just be nice to him, I know you can be a bit of a dick when you want to be. So sure enough, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll be nice. Little did I know Nick would roll up, and he was definitely more of a little shit than me anyway. So anyway, we were drinking, and this V8 Commodore pulls up in the beautiful suburb of Opawa. Oh yeah, sweet, we'll get along sweet, yeah. So anyway, as the night went on, had a few good yarns, some few beers, and I was telling him, oh yeah, so yeah man, tomorrow I'm off on a sketchy mission to Nelson. I've got to go pick up the Skyline because I just got back from Australia. And Nick being Nick, he's like, oh yeah man, I'm keen as to come, I'll come for the mission tomorrow morning, like, good as gold. But anyway, I woke up the next morning, bright and early, gave thanks, and Nick was still asleep because I don't think he could keep up, but he slowly got there. Anyway, so I set off, and we skipped forward about 3 hours from here. It's no surprise that the old man, we took his old BMW and decided to shit the bed in the middle of nowhere really. And so anyway, sitting there, get a tow truck to a garage to get it fixed, and get a call from Nick. He goes, oh hey mate, how's the trip going? I'm like, oh yeah man, kind of stranded in the middle of nowhere, it's all good though, we'll get it fixed and probably just come home. And so Nick being Nick, he took it to himself to grab the car transporter, drove 3 hours to Springs, where was it? It was halfway to Nelson anyway, and then bought the trailer, then continued to drive to Nelson so I could get this car and drive back. I haven't changed much, asked Molly, I'm still starting to get a good deal. But anyway, I tell the story because you just got to remember, I met the dude the previous night, and it just sums up the type of dude Nick is.
You need to add to the rest of that story.
What did?
Yeah, Skyline.
Oh yeah, that story extends because Nick also enjoyed all the time with the comedy. I mean, he didn't really see the front of the car up, but when it broke, he definitely saw the front of my car. But anyway, yeah, I think the story basically fits who Nick is. It's the perfect sum up, and because of the type of dude he was, we stayed friends right until the end. And even when I was posted overseas, I didn't get to see Nick, but he just made the effort for my family, and he was never a stranger. Just an all-around good dude, and they miss him as much as I do. Now that I've got a story out of the way, I've just got a message for the family. Thank you for raising such a good dude. I mean, he was a bit of a bullsack, but it made him a good dude, and he wasn't boring. So finally, I'll just finish with something to say to Nick. Mate, the years of your love and friendship is something I always treasure. They really are what I consider to be the good old days. From completely random missions in the clubby or the Skyline, to nights out where I get you drunk enough that you vomit, fall over, and I convince you that you pulled a girl, only to throw pillows on you, and you freak out. And who could have got the time in Wellington where we teared up Wellington town at last minute plan, and you found your favourite bar, and you still wear cowboy hats and love country music. I think it kind of ruins you. I think it really shows the person that you really are when, from that Wellington trip, you talked to Molly for the first time, and she thought you were a dodgy friend and you were getting me on the right. She'd soon realised that you were actually the kind and loving one of us two. The bar's set pretty low with us two, but I still got something for you, mate. I'm forever grateful for all of those memories, and you'll forever leave a strong mark on my life. You've helped me through good times and the bad, and because of you, I am where I am today. As a brother recently said, you can't even remember when we weren't friends. 5 years go so quick, but look at all the memories we've made. Goodbye, Nick. I'll always love you, bro.
I know that you all have your own stories of what you shared with Nick. But as you remember it, and perhaps share it with some other people later on when we have the refreshments after the service, just be glad that you knew him and take that special quality that Nick had and embrace it into your own life. And in that way, Nick will continue to live on within you. We can't feel sad over the loss of those we love without first remembering the joy of loving them. The real sadness would have been never having them in your life at all. Grief, unfortunately, is the price that we pay for love. Thanks for those memories, Nick. No one can ever take them away. And I know there are lots of memories, and the good thing is that those memories don't stop today. Nick's name will continue to be spoken, I'm sure, and he will always be remembered. So let's pause now for a couple of moments and spend some time with our own thoughts of him while we watch a photographic tribute, which has been prepared by Midge in Denmark. You may have to move in from that side to be able to see the screen.
Still got your number in my phone, and even though you don't know or listen, I still call and wait till the tone, just to hear you say leave a message. Since you've been gone, I've had to find different ways to grieve. There's days that I don't even want it on my mind, but tonight I'm weak, so I'm gonna pull out pictures, ones with you in them, laugh and cry a little while reminiscing by myself. I can't help that all I think about is how you were taken way too soon. It ain't the same here without you. I gotta say, missing you comes in waves, and tonight I'm drowning. Yeah, I know you're in a better place, and one day I'll see you again, but it's killing me we can't be face to face. I miss my best friend, so tonight I'm gonna pull out pictures, ones with you in them, laugh and cry a little while reminiscing by myself. I can't help that all I think about is how you were taken way too soon. It ain't the same here without you. I gotta say, missing you comes in waves, and tonight I'm drowning. Yeah, tonight I'm drowning. I know it's a part of life, but I wasn't ready to say goodbye. So tonight I'm gonna pull out pictures, ones with you in them, laugh and cry a little while reminiscing by myself. I can't help that all I think about is how you were taken way too soon. It ain't the same here without you. I gotta say, missing you comes in waves, and tonight I'm drowning. Yeah, tonight I'm drowning.
riding your horse.
She's a two-stack Mac with a bunk in the back, and she's crawled from head to toe. She's got a screaming cat that won't hold back, so hammer down, boys, let her go. She's a lady of the night with her chicken lights, I guess a couple hundred or so. I get lost in the lines and the way she whines to that XM radio. Hey, Mr. DJ, play me a song. Wanna buy trucking all night long. I got a girl, she's a waiting at home for me. This old rig, she sure is fast, spinning them sides as she rolls past. A long haul trucker is all I'll ever be. Chicken lights and chrome, yeah, I'm headed home. See us coming from a million miles away. She lights up the sky like the 4th of July. Trucker's favorite songs, Alabama's Roll On and Chicken Lights and Chrome. She's lipstick red, man, she'll knock 'em dead as she rolls through the scales. She'll let the black smoke roll when I pour on the coal and she's blazing up the trail. You can bet all eyes out on 65 will have a shade from a shine. There's nowhere to hide, she's too damn bright. She's a burning up the night. Chicken lights and chrome, hell, I'm headed home. You can see us coming from a million miles away. She lights up the sky like the 4th of July. Trucker's favorite songs, Alabama's Roll On and Chicken Lights and Chrome. From a million miles away. She lights up the sky like the 4th of July. Trucker's favorite songs, Alabama's Roll On and Chicken Lights and Chrome. Trucker's favorite songs, Alabama's Roll On and Chicken Lights and Chrome.
Happy birthday, Uncle Nick! I miss you! Have a good day! I miss you! Happy birthday, Uncle Nick! I miss you! Have a good day! I miss
I'd like to finish now with another reading that I'm reading on behalf of this family. If we knew it would be the last time that we'd see you fall asleep, we'd tuck you in more tightly and pray the Lord your soul to keep. If we knew it would be the last time that we'd see you walk out the door, we'd give you a hug and kiss and call you back for one more. If we knew it would be the last time, we could spare an extra minute to stop and say, we love you, instead of assuming you would know we do. If we knew it would be the last time we'd be there to share your day, well, we're sure you'll have so many more, so we can let this one just slip away. For surely there's always tomorrow to make up for an oversight, and we always get a second chance to make everything just right. There'll always be another day to say we love you, and certainly there's another chance to say anything we can do. But just in case we might be wrong and today is all we get, we'd like to say how much we love you and we hope we never forget. Tomorrow is not promised to anyone, young or old alike. And today may be the last chance you get to hold your loved one tight. So if you're waiting for tomorrow, why not do it today? But if tomorrow never comes, you'll surely regret the day that you didn't take that extra time for a smile, a hug, or a kiss. And you're too busy to grant someone what turned out to be their one last wish. So hold your loved ones close today and whisper in their ear. Tell them how much you love them and that you'll always hold them dear. Take time to say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, or it's okay. And if tomorrow never comes, you'll have no regrets about today. Food for thought. Nick Ross, your life we honour, your departure we will try to accept, and your memory we will always cherish. Go safely into the mystery of whatever lies ahead. May your spirit fly in freedom, released from all that holds it back. Carry with you now all the love that lies in the heart of the universe, like a warm cloud around you, and with our love. Thank you for your attention today. Nick's favourite song on love.
So we're going to the pub Rolleston.
So the Rock and Rolliston, a lot of drivers here I know probably have zero alcohol policies. Being a driver, I understand that myself. Also, anybody who, for people who haven't been able to make it today and things like that, or if you just want to catch some time with the family but aren't able to hang around here, you've got stuff to do. From about 4 o'clock onwards, we are going to be at the Rock and Rolliston. Feel free to come down, have a drink with us. I know I'm definitely going to be sinking a few there, so I'd love to see a few of you guys come share your stories. And yeah, just... and food's ready inside, so if you're hungry, go have a feed.
What is that? A bar.
And the bar's open as well, cash only though. So if you didn't bring cash, you're screwed. But yeah, thank you everyone for showing up today.